Okay, so we will be going through today looking at some best practices in the setup and the inputting recommendations for referral source information on your jobs. We will also be looking at adding relationships to your jobs, which may be related customers, vendors, or contacts. And assigning types to those is going to be very key in being sure that they are identified as what kind of a relationship they are to the job, and the ability to add a title to your individual contacts.
What? She mutes it. She mutes everybody.
We will be looking as well at job referral reports after the setup information is reviewed.
How did you get in if you were there on the phone?
Okay, so just to make sure, so I have now brought up PSA web screen here. If there is any issues that anyone has with seeing the screens, if I'm presenting a different screen, please put a chat in the notes to let me know if there's any concerns, okay? So we're going to start today with our referral source information. And we all know that referral sources are important information that is going to be key marketing source to tell us the source of our revenue streams. And we have many different places that we could add that information. And of course, right on the input of the job, we have the option to add that in. So I'm going to start by showing you inside of our PSA web platform here when we create a job with the blue button at the top left corner. On here, we have our 3 referral source referral information fields. Starting from the bottom left, we have the referral source type. So this field here is your general category, which is allowing you just to do a main categorization of the referral type. So you can see here what I've got set up. Some general categories of referral sources. Our recommendation is that you have a maximum of 12 referral sources. We have seen some companies that have a lot more than that, and we do recommend to have this list minimized down to 12 is kind of an ideal number. If you have more than that, again, if there's something that you're planning to get your information trimmed down, please reach out to our support departments to assist you if that's required. So we have our referral source. So if we were going to be adding an insurance referral on this particular job, we would then have 2 additional fields where we can identify the company in which we'll be getting credit for the referral source. So this drop down is a list to all of the companies that are inside of your PSA setup. Companies would be customers or vendors. So if we did have an insurance company, we can pick Allstate. And then as soon as you pick your company, the next field over is for the individual person or contact. And that would be a company that would be or contact set up for the company you've chosen. So this list will be minimized to only showing you the individuals who are contacts for Allstate. And we'll pick Ted Jones. Just so you're aware as well, if we removed those 2 fields off, and if I did know the person's name and I found him first, it will automatically populate the company if you worked it that way. Okay. So that is right on the Job Create screen inside of PSA Web. For jobs that are being imported from Exact Analysis and being created from there, there's also a referral source available on that screen. If you are not, if you have jobs that don't have the companies or contacts and you wish to add them afterwards, you are able to do that when you go into the full job and edit it there. Okay, so going to go to, so I didn't create a job right there, but I've got a couple of jobs created that already have referral information added. So let's take a look at this Daniel Peterson job. And you can see over in the right-hand side that there is a referral source of an insurance. So it's a direct insurance referral. So after the job is created, if we jump to the relationships tab, we're going to see the additional information that was added for that job. We first come to relationships. The view shows us, you can see the view option is set to all. So on here, we do have all of the referral information that was added from the job create screen. On the left-hand side, we see the company relationship and then the contact with the individual that was selected when this job was created. Okay, of course, you can see those individually as well if you switch to the different individual views. Okay, and the type that was added was referrer. Okay. The desktop, now we have customers that are with us today that are using PSA Web with other integrations, and then there are some that have PSA with our full PSA accounting program. So I would like to also share with you what that looks like if you've added it in the web and the job has synced to your desktop. So I am going to slide over this screen for you to see. Okay. So this is showing you here in the bottom right area, the referral source that was chosen when the job was created. And you can see I'm just highlighting here so you can know which part of the screen I'm looking at. And then you have your company and your contact. So all of that information is in both locations now if you're using the full PSA desktop. Okay. Actually, while we're on here, the creation of the referral sources, so that drop-down list that I showed you in the web, if you are a PSA desktop customer with the accounting, then where you would be doing your setups of most of your drop-down selection lists will always be on the screen where you put them into the information. So of course here for referral source, that is being maintained on the job level, and the little pencil will be where you're going to go to look at the list of your referral sources. And if you needed to add one, you'd add one at the bottom. Removal can be done through the X. So that's how you maintain referrals on the desktop. And here in the web, if we wanted to know, if you're using PSA Web and you wanted to know how to maintain those, you'll be going to your company settings option, which is under the settings menu. And for most of our companies, you wouldn't be seeing the company settings unless you are an administrator for PSA Web. So from here, going down to the jobs section and opening it up and sliding down to the bottom, you will see an option here of editing referrer. So this is the referrer source. We'll click on that. And this is that list of referrers. So edit, delete, and the create buttons at the top. It's a simple field, just with you put your description in and save it to create a new referrer. Okay. The refer option to add is available again for every different company. So any company or vendor or customer or vendor would automatically be able to be added to any job as a referrer. There's no special type that has to be set up. They're just automatically available for them to be selected at any point from the referral company or contact listing. Okay. So in addition to having referral information on your jobs, there is also a recommendation that you use the relationships tab of the job to track other companies that may have a connection to this job. And one of the main ones will be the insurance company. So having an insurance company added to your job lets you identify that in not just from this screen, but that information also will be available to track through different reports that are not using referral types, but more of just the what is the insurance company, the contact or individual person who works for that insurance company can be labeled on the job, and the information that's in those types of fields are available to pull onto some of our custom forms or mail merge forms to say what is the insurance company or the adjuster, as an example, from a particular job. So it's not always the case that the insurance company that you're adding to the job will be the same as the referrer. So we do want to make sure that if you have you want the insurance to be added to your job with a type that says insurance company. So let's just take a look here. So this is Danielle Peterson's job, and this is an insurance company that did refer it, but let's just go through the scenario that there was a different insurance company that we wanted to add for this, this particular job. So to do that, we're going to go to the Relationships tab, and we're going to go to the view of the company. So in order to add someone or company to the job, you want to be on the view here so that this drop-down list over on the left is going to be feeding you the right information. So we want to be on company to select a company. And so here, this was, let's just take a look here again, that was Intact. Okay, so what we're going to do is, it may be the case that Intact is the insurance company as well. So we will go ahead and choose them. And we're going to see that Insurance Office has come up here. So if we drop the list down, I mentioned a minute ago that you could add any company on as a referrer company. You know, that is obviously the other option that was there automatically for every company. So insurance companies are always identified inside a PSA as a customer, and they are available in this list. So I'm going to select Insurance Office and click Add. Okay, so the additional, maybe we have, that puts the insurance company on. If you had wanted to remove anything from there, you can use the Remove button on the right-hand side. If we went in and we looked up the insurance company, that would pull up the full information to see the contact information for the company. If we have the individual that is the main contact from Intact, we may put that on the system as well under the contact option here. And I'm just going to show you, actually, I'm going to remove the company back off. So we've just taken that Intact off as the insurance company. So I want to show you a little bit of a shortcut. If you go to the contact level and you've got your system set up with your insurance information. So here's Sally Jones, that is the referrer. But if she was the actual person that we were going to be dealing with for the, if she's going to be the adjuster or the agent, then we can actually add her. So let me just add her again. And we will add her as from the insurance office and add. And you can see here she's been added. And the title, we have set up her particular contact record with the title of agent. So it has come up here to show that. And then if we pop back to the company, the shortcut part of this is that automatically the insurance company is labeled here as well. So this, we now have done that in just one step by adding her in as the contact. And whatever company she is a contact for will automatically populate into the job. So if you are using certain of our electronic custom forms, and we are trying to populate onto that form the name of the insurance company automatically for you, this is now linked with the insurance type, and that will allow that to feed through onto specific forms that are set up. As well, when you are looking at this job in the mobile app, anything that's a refer type or whatever other type has been added will also show up in that first page when you look at your job on the mobile app. So you see who was a referrer, and you also can see who's the insurance contact. Okay. Might not always be insurance. You might be putting an independent adjuster. You might be putting an agency. All of those, whatever the selection is, will be showing up on the mobile app, depending on what you've got set here. For the companies that are joining us today that are using the web with not using our PSA accounting, you may have the flexibility to change the types to be, maybe you don't want to have the word office at the end of the type. But for the customers that are joining us today that are using PSA Desktop, there is stricter guidelines and rules that have to be in place because of the change in the platforms. So if you're using PSA Desktop, you're aware that when you try and add a company type to a company, like an insurance company, you only get to choose one option. And if you're on the job and you want to add an insurance company in PSA Desktop, you only have one option. So I'm just going to bring that over to show just to make sure it's clear what I'm saying, because this can be a little confusing. But if you take a look here at the desktop screen, and if I drop down, you'll see my label on here is the word insurance and office. So if I drop that down, I am only going to see, I'm seeing companies or customers that are in PSA that have been labeled for the type to feed this, but we could only choose one. There is no option to add any other types within the desktop. So what we want to just clarify so everybody understands this is the label that is on this screen. So insurance office, that's labeled towards the top here that I was doing the drop down for, that is what the type has to be set to in the web when you add an insurance company to a job. Similar to adjuster. So right now the labels that are set on this database that I'm showing you is adjuster. That's the main office. So the middle one links to the actual customer list, which has all of the full information for Intact and State Farm in this case. The bottom field below it, again, that's got a different label, but it's the contacts that work for those insurance offices. So for everything to sync properly back to your desktop jobs, you want to make sure that when you are adding them in the web, that they're set up properly so that you're selecting the type that matches that label in the desktop. Those of you just using the web with other interfaces like QuickBooks, that doesn't apply. You may be more, there's not a limitation to try and match it up to another system, okay? Inside of the web, under relationships, is where you can see the setup of your companies and your contacts. So I have the companies tab open here. Just going to refresh the screen here. Okay, so let's go into a vendor to start with here. So a vendor has a couple of different types. So whenever you see a star beside a type of a company, that is identifying that that is the type that's going to sync if you're using PSA Desktop, okay? Vendor is automatically, again, inside of the web, we just have relationships and companies. So everything that's going to be in this company's list has to feed back into an accounting system that is going to be breaking it out into vendors and customers. So whether, even if you're going to QuickBooks, if you add a company here in the web, you want to make sure that you add vendor so that when it hits your QuickBooks, it's going to go into your vendor list. And the same thing going into your PSA Desktop accounting, where it would go into the right list. Okay, but they're both in the company's list here. So if you are adding in the web, make sure, and if you created a brand new one and you didn't add vendor or customer, you will get a message that says, nope, you have to add a vendor or customer to this new company you've added. Okay, and then the additional types that you have in the list are available, but you would, again, need to know if you're trying to match it up to one that's already there, you would want to select the type that you've got set up in your desktop. Okay. Something just prior to this training session, I had done something and I going to just have to explain this here. Let's just take a look at one of our insurance companies here. So this Intact Insurance, I had this one that says homeowner really needs to be, this should be saying customer. So my apologies, it's something that I just did prior to the session, but that absolutely, when that says homeowner, just ignore that. That should be saying customer, and that would be what you would be seeing in any of your insurance companies that you have inside your PSA. So if we take a look at this particular types that are on this insurance company, the one with the star is telling you what the type is called back in the desktop. So there is an insurance type in an Intact Insurance back in the desktop. So if I bring over that screen to show you, let's see here. So if I go to our customer lookup here, and I call up Intact, just right there, I'll have a type at the top right corner, which has insurance. Okay, so that is the, oops, I'm not going to change that. So, so that is where the type is matched up to. So that star that you're seeing here is telling you what you're syncing to in the desktop. So the insurance office is also here. So one of the things that we may put into place as far as, you could end up having the label on the desktop jobs be insurance, but right now it isn't. Right now it has got a different name, and different companies change their job labels to be different things. So, but remember that what I said, if you're adding it to a job, when you add this Intact Insurance to a job and you want it to sync to your job screen in the desktop, you want to make sure you choose Insurance Office, because that's the field on the job screen. Okay. All right. Now, we have the latest program that has been introduced a few months ago is our Proven CRM program. So that's contact management software that, of course, integrates with our PSA. So the information that we have inside of PSA, our job management program, will sync over. So a new job, customers and vendors are all going to sync over into the Proven CRM. One of the new terms for companies in the CRM is organizations. So companies are the same as organizations, but they do refer to them as organizations there. So that information is going to sync over. So we would want to highly recommend that anyone who is going to be maintaining or an administrator of that CRM program be aware of company types and organization types, because there is an ability in CRM, because again, it could be a standalone program, that you could create company types. So if you're integrating your CRM to PSA Web, there may be a more relaxed set of company types that you could use because there's not any restrictions. But if you are integrating to our PSA accounting and desktop program, we would probably suggest that you don't do any creation or changes to the types of companies or organizations there, and that be maintained back in PSA to sync through into the CRM program. Okay. All right. I'm going to go back into the contacts now. So within the contacts, each person that's a contact has to be in here connected to a company. Okay. So earlier we were taking a look at Sally, and so if we go and look at Sally Jones, she is an insurance agent, and you can see that we have a field here called title. So this title is an available field that you can maintain this. This list of titles can be maintained inside of your PSA Web. And if you're using a desktop, you can maintain it in the desktop. And I will show you briefly where that is set up. So the value, again, of putting these titles on, if we go back to at the job for a second and we look at the Relationships tab and go to the contacts, seeing the title come through on those, if Sally was an adjuster or that worked at the insurance office, whatever her title is, it's going to be very clearly identified what her particular role is. So we do recommend that titles be added. Okay. So titles, if we go, I'm just going to jump back here to where you set them up in the web. So under settings and under your company settings, and underneath the relationships, and we see edit contact titles. So within here, you can go through and you can add whatever titles that you want for any of your contacts. Okay, good information to track. And as I mentioned earlier, for those individuals that are using the titles from the desktop, the place to add those in the desktop would be inside the customer record. So this is, again, remember what I said earlier, that you go to the spot where you would be adding that type of information to a job. And when you go to that job, and you go to that location, and I'm going to go, so this is the contacts tab of an insurance company, which is a customer, and I open up one that's already there, or I could go into the create screen, and this is the desktop place where a contact could be maintained, but this is where the type is available here. So this little drop-down list, and then you could add whatever types that needed to be added. Okay. All right. The other tip I should mention to our PSA desktop users is when you add something to a selection list, it does need to be used once on an entry inside of the desktop for that to trigger that new particular item on the list to sync up to the web. So if you went in and added 5 new referral sources or contact types, you'd want to go and put them onto an actual record and close it out, and then that will refresh. That will sync it up to the web, and then apply the next one as well to get them all. Because each time the sync runs, it's not checking every type every time. So we want to make sure that, so if you don't see them coming up and you thought you'd added them, it may just be that you hadn't used them on a contact or on a customer. Okay. So the last thing I want to show you here is the reports. So let's go to our reports. So under reports menu, list all, we have, get to the right screen. So we have referral reports in the web as well as the desktop. So I'm going to show you the one report here, and then I will be showing you the desktop marketing report. So here we have all the reports, and I'm just going to type in the filter referrals. And I'm going to show you, we have 3 different options. So the paid jobs would only show the referral information if the job has been paid. So those of you that are paying out payouts to referral information, that may be the report you're wanting to only be seeing those paid jobs. The referral report I'm going to show you is the full report. And the third one lets you break down and see the referrals by the project manager on those jobs, is the way that report's structured. So we're going to look at the middle one here, which has parameters available for us to choose. So we can select individual referral sources if we chose to. So we could say we just wanted to see maybe the insurance or the employee types of referrals. We're going to leave that blank, and that's going to allow us to see all of them. Okay, so leaving that blank, you get to see every different referral source. There is some filter fields here. If you wanted to just pull up a specific contact or company, you can just type in a word. There's no drop down here, but you can just type the person's name. Like I could type Sally, and everything that had a referral contact of Sally would come up. Okay, I'm just going to leave it blank for our report right now. There is a team option. There is a date type that you can choose. It's only received and closed here, or not. That's the key ones you'd be wanting. And I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to go back as far as, let's just say, June, I think is the data that I have available in here. So we'll do from June 1st until today. Okay, and I'm going to leave location for all, and I'm going to also leave that for all and submit. So what this is going to give us is the list of all of the jobs in our system. That this is all I have in this particular database. And we can see the source, the company, and the contact, and all of the actual revenue posted to those jobs as of today. Running this report by leaving the referral source blank, saying I want to see all of them, is a way for you to identify any missing data. So you can see the third job on here for Roger Anderson does not have a referral source. So again, if we're going to be tracking this to our best practices, we would want a referral source on every one of your jobs. So that identifies the job that needs to go be updated with that referral source. Okay. Now, for those of you using the desktop, we have a report that is, let's slide this back over here, on our report menu under job management. The report here is called marketing, and it has the availability for you to do a comparison this year to last, and it has many different report options. So you see all the different options here. So if I'm looking at referral specifically, this here would allow me to choose the referred by, and I'm going to just change these dates here to this year, and that should pull up some data for me. So we have referred by, and you have some different options here to see details or not. So if I did choose details, I can go and I could pick the specific type if I wanted. I'm just going to grab everything because we don't have that much data in there, and I'm going to hit the run button. Okay, so this is showing me, oops, here, oh, you know what? I only got this year. So these are the only two that I have in this year, but this gives you the idea underneath the, so each individual customer, and we can see the total amount here. So this is a customer, the first one is a customer referral type. The second one is an insurance direct referral type. And then we have the totals for each. Okay, so that is the report option, and the desktop does have the options as well to go through and run them by the insurance. So you could choose the insurance office if that's in summary, and you would be able to see the total again of revenues by those different insurance, by the insurance types that are on the jobs. Okay. All right. So I've got, I think that's everything I wanted to cover today. So what I would like to do is answer the questions in the chat facility, the chat program. So I see several have rolled in. So let's see, the first one. So it's asking if we can star the vendor in the web, but only in the desktop. Can you star the vendor in the web or only? So I'm not sure what the question is asking. So I'm going to unmute you. And can you unmute here? Can you just clarify what the question is, please?
Just more or less, you know, the type stems, the star is what's in PSA desktop.
Right.
So can you make that change in the web to reflect back to the desktop, or does it have to be done in the desktop?
No, you can change it. Yeah, so you can. So if I go into, let me go back to say a subtrade just to show you.
Yeah.
That's a great question. Whoops. Let's see here. Bob Jones is a plumber here. Okay. So if we had more than one on his.
Under his type.
Yeah, it has to be under the company. Okay. So the types. Remember the contact inherits the types from the company. So
right.
if I go to the to this one here, Yeah, so if there was, let me just pick another one so I have another one on the
Okay.
screen. Okay, so if we had this scenario here and you really wanted the equipment to be the one, to
Right.
star it, you just click it, you click it there, and then it moves the star to the other item. So that means so are you asking if that's going to change your
Well, no,
desktop?
I just wanted to know if you could do that change. So I'm just trying to figure out how you, okay. So you have to click the star materials and then select the new one?
Actually, no, let me just do it again. So if I open up the other type. So if I needed to change this to the word equipment, all you do is click on equipment.
Uh-huh. Oh, got it. I got it. Okay.
Okay. So I would suggest try changing one. Let the sync run. Again, it runs every 15 minutes. And then go and check it and make sure before you go and change a bunch altogether. Just make sure.
Right, to see if it changed in desktop. Got it. Okay.
And you want to make sure that you have that type in the desktop. It's one of the items in your list.
Sure. It's got to be part of the list.
Yep.
Got it. Okay.
Great.
Good to know. Thank you.
Okay. And the next question is from Kelly. Perhaps you'll get to this, but I would like to know what report I can run to see referral sources by job. So Kelly, I hope I answered your question. I showed that report just a minute ago. Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Kel. Okay, the next one is the type on a contact should be the same as, yes, so the question was, does the type on the contact have to be the same as the company type? And the answer is yes. So if I go to a contact screen for you and just show you here, and I go into an insurance company, we'll just say, this is contact. So you'll notice that the types, I don't even, like they're down here. You can't, they're inherited as soon as you add the contact to the company. So you're not able to, if you need another type available to you because you're using like just web and you have lots of flexibility, you go back to the company and you add the type that you want, and then you'll be able to select that from the contact record. Okay, so I hope that, so if you wanted whatever type you add to the company, you'll be able to add it to a job with that. And then remember that your adjuster title, whatever the title is going to be, is another key field to identify that relationship for that person on the jobs. Okay. Okay. Let's see, next question. Okay. Actually, I don't have any other questions in the board. Is there, if there's anybody else that wants to add one, I can add it now. Okay, all right. So again, this particular topic is, can be, maybe a little confusing because we have the different platforms, but I hope I've tried to explain that clearly enough that you understand what's available from the different platforms. And I thank all of you for coming today, and I wish you a safe and good day moving forward. Thank you very much. Bye for now.